Hello everyone, I hope you're all fine. Today we are going to look at models of necessity, prohibition, and preference. Let's begin. Let's begin with have to. Use have to in the past, present, and future to express responsibility or necessity. We have a note here. Have to is conjugated as a regular verb and therefore requires an auxiliary verb in the question form or negative. For example, does he have to go? Does is an auxiliary verb here. We have to get up early. She had to work hard yesterday, past. They will have to arrive early, future. And does he have to go? As we said, does is an auxiliary verb. Have got to has the same meaning as have to, but it is more common in spoken language. The affirmative, positive, negative, and interrogative. Interrogative means question. Forms of have to and have got to are here, as you see. You can also see this in your books, Grammar and Beyond. You can see that have got to is not usually used in negative sentences. Must do obligations. By the way, the word obligation means something that a person feels morally or legally forced to do. Okay, so use must to express something that you or a person feels is necessary. This form is used only in the present and future. I must finish this work before I leave. Must you work so hard? John must explain this if he wants his students to succeed. It's late, I must get going. Don't have to do, not required, but possible. So the negative form of have to expresses the idea that something is not required. It is, however, possible if so desired. You don't have to arrive before 8. But if you arrive before 8, nothing happens. They didn't have to work so hard. We don't have to work overtime on Saturdays. But if we work overtime, nothing happens. She didn't have to attend the presentation. He doesn't have to cook tonight. He's going out for dinner. So no need to cook. Mustn't do. This is prohibition. Not allowed. Okay. The negative form of must expresses the idea that something is prohibited. This form is very different in meaning than the negative of have to. I mean, must and have to have similar meanings in the affirmative, but they are very different in negative sentences. So she mustn't use such horrible language. She mustn't, okay? She can't use it. It's forbidden. Tom, you mustn't play with fire. You mustn't, okay? It's dangerous. You mustn't drive more than 25 mph in this zone. The children mustn't go into the street. So here we have an important note again. The past form of have to and must is had to. Yes, this is important. Must does not exist in the past. So did he have to leave so early? He had to stay overnight in Dallas. She had to pick the children up from school. Did they have to do the work over again? So these are examples. We have need to here. Need to and have to, they are also similar. Important, necessary for someone. Use need to express that something is important and necessary for you to do. She needs to go to Seattle next week. Do you need to get up early tomorrow? I need to spend more time with my children because I've been so busy lately. We need to focus on getting new business this month. Don't need to do, not necessary, but possible. Use the negative form of need to express that something isn't necessary but possible. At times, English speakers use don't need to express that they don't expect someone to do something. Again, don't need to and don't have to, they are similar. You don't need to come to the meeting next week. She doesn't need to worry about her grades. She's a great student. I don't need to work next Monday. Peter doesn't need to worry about money because he's independently wealthy. Independently wealthy means being very rich. I mean, if a person is independently wealthy, this means that he or she does not need financial support from another person or doesn't require income from employment. So he doesn't need to worry. He doesn't have to worry about money. That's why. And here is the summary of our models. Look at this cute baby. What does it say? Here, when you don't have to wake up early. Or obligation. We have to stop here. Obligation. Or wait, you can't enter here. Again, here can't expresses prohibition, like mustn't. Okay? So necessity, it is necessary, must, have to. Past, had to. Not necessary, don't have to, don't need to. Past, didn't have to, didn't need to. Prohibition, explanation part and example part. Mustn't, it expresses prohibition. For example, do not do this. Cannot or can't, it expresses prohibition. So you must not look in the closet. Your birthday present is hidden there. So don't look in the closet. You mustn't tell anyone my secret. Do you promise? Do you promise? You cannot smoke in a closed area. It's forbidden to smoke in a closed area. I think this chart or table it is very useful. Okay, now we have preferences. We have would rather, would like to, and would prefer. They're all used to express preferences. But of course, grammar rules are important. After would rather, we use a base form of the verb. I would rather go to the cinema. Base form. After would like, we use an infinitive. I'd like to eat a piece of cake. Okay? After would prefer, we use an infinitive again. She would prefer to see better flats. By the way, the contraction of would is here. She'd like to see. Okay? And what about negative forms? She would rather not see me, which means she'd be happier not to see me. He would prefer not to work online. I would not like to eat anything now. So here, as you see, we put not after would rather and would prefer, but we put not between would and like, okay? When we talk about general preferences, we can use the verb prefer as well. Do not forget the subject-verb agreement issue. What does subject-verb agreement issue mean? For example, she prefers, not she prefer, or they prefer, okay? Subject-verb agreement. She prefers walking to cycling. By the way, would prefer and prefer can be followed by a noun, an infinitive, or a verb ing. He prefers or would prefer a TV channel without ads. He prefers or would prefer to watch TV without commercials. He prefers or would prefer watching TV without commercials. You can make a comparison with would rather and than. If there is a verb after than, it is also in the base form. I would rather cook than eat out. I would rather cook spaghetti than cook pizza. Here, cook is in brackets because we have the common verbs, but doesn't matter, you can write it as well. And this is the end. I hope you understood the use of modals. You can watch the video again, or now you can do the extra exercises. Thank you and hope to see you soon.